The ghost listener MI6’s eavesdropper who left no trace. London's underground hum carried more than the sound of its subway and late-night traffic. It was alive with invisible signals, faint vibrations, and a network of whispers that only a trained operative could perceive. In the heart of MI6’s headquarters, a room buried beneath Whitehall buzzed with a silent intensity. Monitors flickering with lines of encrypted transmissions, analysts leaning over keyboards, their eyes tracing invisible threads of communication across continents. The ghost listener was about to begin a mission unlike any other. A pursuit defined not by force or confrontation, but by listening, interpreting, and predicting without leaving a trace. Every wire, every telephone line, every faint electronic pulse became a potential channel of intelligence. Agents moved silently across corridors, carrying miniature devices, patches of magnetic sensors, and inconspicuous receivers, each calibrated to catch the faintest signal that could indicate an emerging threat. The first stage was identification, locating the target within the vast sea of encrypted chatter, tracing patterns of movement, speech, and digital footprints that could be invisible to anyone else. Analysts highlighted anomalies: an extra transmission at an odd hour, a subtle deviation in frequency, a brief silence that suggested deliberate concealment, and the field teams adjusted positions. Accordingly, shifting like ghosts between buildings, rooftops, and alleyways, always present yet never seen. By midnight, a series of faint signals had emerged, whispers in the wires that hinted at clandestine meetings, unregistered communications, and networks operating under the radar of conventional surveillance. Operatives listened with relentless focus, recording each anomaly, cross-referencing with previous intelligence, and feeding the data into MI6’s predictive models, transforming scattered fragments into coherent possibilities. Outside, the city slept unaware of the web of observation spinning above, below, and around it. Every streetlight, every shadow, every reflective surface became part of the operation, a tool to monitor a potential aid in tracing patterns that might otherwise go unnoticed. The ghost listener himself remained invisible, moving in silence, a presence only known to those coordinating the mission from the command center. His expertise was in translating what the untrained ear could not detect: the faint shift of a tone, the subtlest delay between two messages, the hidden cadence within an otherwise normal exchange. As hours passed, the threads began to converge, revealing a picture of a network operating with careful precision, yet leaving subtle clues in its wake. The room beneath Whitehall was filled with a quiet intensity, a blend of tension and anticipation, as analysts and operatives interpreted every signal, every whisper, every micro-event, knowing that a single overlooked detail could allow the target to vanish. By early morning, the first breakthrough occurred. A pattern in the transmissions indicated a probable meeting point, a location chosen for its anonymity and distance from standard observation. Field operatives were repositioned, shadows flowing seamlessly across rooftops and through alleyways, each step calculated to maintain invisibility while ensuring constant monitoring. Every movement was synchronized with the rhythms of the city, blending into ordinary sounds and activity, leaving no hint of intelligence activity, no trace to be detected by those unaware of the operation. In the operations center, Director Finch observed the progress with measured satisfaction, aware that the success of this mission depended on a balance of technology, intuition, and patience. The ghost listener, operating in near silence, had already intercepted critical signals, mapping the flow of information and identifying weak points in the network that would later prove crucial. The day was beginning, yet the operation had not paused. The city itself had become a theater for observation. Every wire, every transmission, every whisper a potential key to unraveling secrets that no ordinary methods could uncover. And so the first day of the mission concluded with a growing web of intelligence, a mosaic of signals, whispers and patterns that would guide MI6 through the coming phases, each operative aware that they were part of a silent, precise, and highly coordinated effort to expose a network without ever revealing their own presence. The ghost listener's work had only begun, and the city, oblivious to the invisible chase, remained the silent witness to an operation defined by shadows, silence, and the extraordinary skill of listening where no one else could. The night had deepened, yet MI6's operations center remained alive with a subdued intensity. Screens flickering with streams of coded communications, analysts hunched over keyboards, and operatives positioned across London, invisible to the city below. The ghost listener's mission had shifted into its second phase, observing without detection, collecting intelligence while remaining entirely unseen, a silent presence in a world that had no notion of the web surrounding it. From high rooftops to dimly lit alleyways, the field teams moved like shadows, instruments hidden in ordinary objects, tracking faint vibrations along telephone lines, intercepting the faintest whispers of wireless transmissions, each signal a thread that could unravel a clandestine network. The silent observer's skill was in patience and anticipation. Every movement of the target, every subtle signal, every irregularity was noted and analyzed. Analysts in the operations center cross-referenced these with historical patterns, known associations, and behavioral cues, building a predictive map of where the network would operate next. In one narrow courtyard, an operative crouched behind a dumpster, listening not just with devices, but with trained intuition, interpreting the rhythm of distant footsteps, the shuffle of a discarded envelope, the faint echo of a conversation that had almost passed unnoticed. Vehicles that seemed ordinary were in fact mobile observation posts, equipped with encryption-capable receivers and advanced monitoring tools, allowing operatives to maintain a continuous presence without revealing themselves. The city itself became part of the operation. Its natural hum, the distant murmur of traffic, even the shifting patterns of streetlights were tools in the silent observer's arsenal. Every reflective window, every cracked facade, every shadowed corner was scanned, mapped, and integrated into the operations intelligence model. As the hours passed, the target's network revealed itself through subtle errors and extra pulse in a transmission, a repeated pattern in behavior, a slight delay in response. These anomalies, invisible to casual observers, were meticulously documented and analyzed, providing MI6 with actionable insights. The coordination between the field teams and the operations center was flawless. Tactile devices, coded gestures, and encrypted haptic signals allowed operatives to adjust positions in real time, ensuring the network remained within observation range while remaining unaware of the surveillance. In one instance, a rooftop operative noticed a signal reflecting off a distant window, a faint vibration in a communications cable, and instinctively signaled to a colleague in a moving vehicle below. That tiny, almost imperceptible exchange allowed the team to reposition without ever being detected, maintaining the unbroken chain of observation that defined the operation. Inside the operations center, analysts compared live transmissions with stored historical data, looking for deviations, connections, and patterns that could indicate the target's next move. Every discovery was immediately relayed, minor adjustments made, and positions refined, all while ensuring the entire operation remained invisible. As dawn approached, the silent observer had established complete coverage, a lattice of unseen eyes and ears, mapping the target's network with precision and care. The ghost listener remained the central figure, coordinating the flow of information, interpreting signals that no one else could perceive, and guiding operatives through the labyrinth of London's streets with uncanny foresight. This phase emphasized restraint as much as skill. The operation was about anticipation rather than confrontation, precision rather than force. The city, waking slowly, remained oblivious to the intricate choreography of observation that unfolded above and below its streets. The silent observer had turned every alleyway, rooftop, and corridor into a stage of vigilance, ensuring that every whisper in the wires was captured, every anomaly noted, and every movement of the target traced with invisible hands. By the end of this night, MI6 had achieved a profound advantage. A network monitored, a target mapped, and an operation that had left no trace of its presence. setting the stage for the next phase where invisible networks would be exploited and secrets extracted from the shadows without a single misstep. As the City of London shifted from night into the earliest hints of dawn, the true complexity of Operation Ghost Listener began to reveal itself. The silent observer had mapped the initial paths, recorded subtle anomalies, and positioned operatives to collect intelligence without being detected. But the invisible networks of communication that sustained the target were far more intricate than anyone had anticipated. These networks were not merely digital, they existed in parallel, woven through human couriers, encrypted calls, unregistered devices, and fleeting physical interactions that left no conventional trace. MI6 operatives moved through the city like phantoms, synchronizing across these layers of concealment, connecting dots invisible to ordinary surveillance. Rooftop teams coordinated with street-level agents who in turn monitored hidden signals from nearby offices, cafes, and warehouse windows, all feeding into a central digital matrix in the operations center. Every intercepted message, every observed exchange, every brief pause or hesitation in behavior contributed to a map of connections that seemed almost intangible. Analysts fed these threads into predictive models, triangulating positions, probabilities, and potential next steps. The invisible networks extended beyond London, with brief communications hinting at coordination across borders. Subtle movements in digital space suggesting an awareness of surveillance and carefully disguised signals weaving through public channels like whispers in a crowded room. Field teams adapted constantly, adjusting positions, monitoring new access points, and interpreting data that often appeared contradictory. A courier carrying a small, unassuming package along a side street could be as significant as a coded message intercepted over a supposedly secure line. The Ghost Listener's genius lay in identifying these connections where others saw randomness, recognizing the hidden rhythm of the network and predicting its next pulse with uncanny precision. Every anomaly was a potential clue, an extra signal in a quiet hour. A pattern of movement inconsistent with the known routine, a seemingly innocuous gesture in a public square. These small deviations revealed the structure of an otherwise invisible web, exposing the mechanisms of a network that was designed to leave no trace. As night gave way to morning, the operatives coordinated in near silence. Vehicles parked in nondescript locations served as mobile observation hubs, scanning radio frequencies, recording subtle signals, and transmitting data back to analysts in real time. Every street, alleyway, and building became part of the network, a conduit for observation and interception. Analysts in the operations center triangulated data streams, running multiple simulations, projecting the target's most probable moves, and feeding these insights back to the field. Operatives adjusted their positions almost imperceptibly, like shadows sliding across the cityscape, ensuring complete coverage without exposing themselves. At one moment, a sudden change in signal frequency suggested the network was attempting a concealed transfer of information. Field teams quickly repositioned to monitor the probable route, while rooftop observers tracked visual cues, brief hand signals, subtle exchanges of items that confirmed the presence of a human element in the digital web. The Ghost Listener remained the invisible nexus of this operation, interpreting the complex interplay of signals, guiding teams and predicting the flow of intelligence that even the target had assumed was undetectable. Each node of the invisible network became an opportunity. Every silent observation, every recorded transmission, every cross-referenced anomaly brought MI6 closer to mapping the full structure, anticipating moves before they occurred and remaining entirely undetected. By midday, the invisible networks had been partially unraveled, revealing a lattice of connections that would be essential for the next phase, extracting secrets without ever alerting the participants. The City of London, ordinary to its residents, had become an arena of hidden currents and silent observation, each pulse of communication carefully monitored, each link traced with precision, and every operative acting as both listener and sentinel. Operation Ghost Listener had evolved into a masterclass of intelligence work, a delicate orchestration of human skill, technology, and anticipation, demonstrating that even the most carefully concealed networks could be illuminated by patience, insight, and the relentless pursuit of the unseen. By the time London's streets began to hum with the first signs of daytime activity, the city remained oblivious to the intricate operations unfolding in its shadows. Operation Ghost Listener had entered its fourth phase, where the focus shifted from mapping the invisible networks to uncovering the secrets hidden within them. Every alleyway, rooftop, and office window could conceal critical exchanges. Yet the brilliance of MI6's approach lay in extracting information without ever revealing its presence. The Ghost Listener had trained operatives to read the subtle signs of activity: glances, pauses, movements that suggested communication, signals that were intentionally disguised as mundane behavior. In a narrow courtyard off Fleet Street, an operative observed a man passing a sealed envelope to another with almost imperceptible precision. To an ordinary observer, it appeared incidental, yet the team had been monitoring their movements for hours, noting the pattern, timing, and repetition that betrayed the presence of a hidden network. Analysts in the operations center received these subtle observations and integrated them with digital intercepts, faint transmissions, encrypted messages, and anomalies in traffic flow. Patterns emerged, revealing the mechanisms by which the network operated, connecting distant nodes and individuals in a lattice that had been designed to evade even the most sophisticated surveillance. Every shadow became a vantage point. Rooftop teams documented movements along alleyways, following operatives carrying briefcases or backpacks whose contents remained unknown. Each observation, no matter how fleeting, was logged, cross-referenced, and weighed against the likelihood of significance. Mobile teams blended seamlessly with pedestrians, observing from unremarkable cars, cafes, and even parked vehicles, ensuring that every potential channel of communication was accounted for. The city's ordinary noises: footsteps, passing buses, distant chatter provided a perfect mask for the field teams, who adjusted in real time to changes in behavior, shifts in routine, and unexpected deviations. At the operations center, analysts worked in tandem with field operatives, feeding predictive data that allowed teams to anticipate the next meeting, the next exchange, and the next subtle sign of communication. The Ghost Listener coordinated this complex ballet of observation and interpretation, translating what would appear random to an untrained eye into actionable intelligence. Small anomalies, a slightly longer pause, an extra signal, a subtle gesture revealed the structure of the network and indicated areas where deeper observation was necessary. By late afternoon, the first substantial intelligence had been gathered. The secrets within the shadows began to take shape. Planned meetings, concealed communication points, and coded transfers that had previously gone unnoticed. This phase demanded utmost patience. Operatives often waited hours in near total invisibility, blending into the environment, their presence unnoticed by everyone around them, yet ready to record and relay every detail. London, a city of lights and movement, had become a stage for silence, subtlety, and precise observation. The Ghost Listener strategy emphasized restraint as much as action. The less visible the intervention, the greater the intelligence gained. By nightfall, the operatives had mapped critical nodes of the network, traced the flow of communications, and identified key individuals whose actions were essential to understanding the full structure. Each shadow observed, each signal recorded, and each minor anomaly documented contributed to a comprehensive intelligence mosaic that would guide the operation toward its final objectives. Operation Ghost Listener, in this phase, demonstrated the extraordinary skill of observing without altering the environment, listening without leaving a trace, and uncovering secrets that existed between shadow secrets that would have remained invisible to any other form of surveillance. The city continued its rhythm, unaware of the silent watchers who had turned ordinary streets into corridors of insight and observation, ensuring that every secret was traced, every network illuminated, and every invisible thread accounted for, all while maintaining the ultimate discipline of remaining unseen. The night deepened over London, transforming familiar streets into a labyrinth of shadows and faint reflections. Operation Ghost Listener had entered its penultimate phase, where the collected intelligence had to be interpreted, verified, and acted upon all without leaving a single detectable trace. Field operatives moved with meticulous care, their silhouettes merging with the darkness. Instruments carefully concealed within everyday objects, ears attuned to whispers that carried across the airwaves, walls and thin cracks in the city's infrastructure. Signals that would appear insignificant to any ordinary observer were now invaluable threads. A barely audible shift in tone over a phone line, the soft shuffle of papers within an office, or the faint vibration of a courier's pocket device. Each signal was intercepted, decoded, and integrated into a growing intelligence picture, revealing hidden agendas, concealed meetings, and the intricate flow of information within the target network. From the operations center, analysts monitored multiple feeds simultaneously, overlaying real-time field data with historical patterns and predictive modeling. Every new piece of information, every intercepted frequency, every subtle discrepancy in behavior was immediately flagged, analyzed, and relayed to operatives on the ground. At times, the city's own rhythm worked in MI6’s favor. The distant hum of traffic masked faint electronic signals, the scattered footsteps of pedestrians' concealed movement, and the ambient noises of daily life hid the presence of surveillance devices that had been expertly placed by field teams. The Ghost Listener himself orchestrated these movements with a precision that bordered on art. He guided teams through a choreography of shadow and silence, interpreting signals as they arose, anticipating the target's reactions, and adjusting positions and tactics in real time. In one narrow passage behind an abandoned warehouse, an operative noted a sequence of subtle hand gestures exchanged between two individuals. To a casual eye, they were nothing more than a fleeting interaction, but the Ghost Listener recognized them as encoded messages, transmitted without words or devices, yet fully revealing intentions to those trained to see. Mobile observation posts along rooftops, in parked cars, and hidden within buildings acted as both eyes and ears, capturing faint audio signals, tracing minor deviations in expected movement, and transmitting them to the central hub. Analysts compared these with previously intercepted communications, creating a network map that expanded by the minute, highlighting both primary operatives and peripheral contacts. As hours passed, a pattern emerged. The signals in the dark, those almost imperceptible cues, revealed a planned transfer of critical information, a node in the network that would become central to the operation's ultimate success. Field teams moved into position with careful synchronization, ensuring coverage of multiple approaches while maintaining invisibility. Every step, every pause, every adjustment was designed to prevent detection while guaranteeing that no signal escaped analysis. The operation exemplified the delicate balance between patience and decisiveness. One wrong move could alert the target, compromising the months of careful intelligence gathering and potentially scattering the network. Yet every observation, every intercepted signal, brought MI6 closer to its goal. By the early hours of the morning, the pieces of the network that had once been hidden in plain sight were now visible to the trained operatives, mapped in meticulous detail and ready for the final phase of the operation. Operation Ghost Listener had demonstrated the power of silent, invisible observation, that even in the shadows, intelligence could be extracted with precision, and that signals, no matter how faint, could illuminate entire networks when interpreted by skilled eyes and ears. The city slept unaware of the intricate web of observation, the whispers in the wires, and the silent operatives who had moved through darkness to gather intelligence without leaving a trace, preparing for the conclusion that would finally reveal the full scope of the target's network. Dawn was breaking over London, the city's skyline bathed in the soft orange glow of morning light. Yet, for MI6 operatives, the mission was far from over. Operation Ghost Listener had reached its climax, the vanishing point. every thread of intelligence gathered over days. Every whisper intercepted, every shadow observed, now converged on a single goal to confirm the target's movements. Secure critical data and maintain complete invisibility. Field teams moved with practiced precision, merging seamlessly with the city's waking rhythm. Observers on rooftops, in alleyways, and along deserted docks monitored subtle pause in a conversation. A hand gesture, a shift in posture that revealed the location of key individuals within the network. The ghost listener coordinated these movements with flawless timing, analyzing real-time signals and adjusting positions to maintain uninterrupted coverage. Vehicles and foot teams moved like extensions of his mind, each action silent, invisible, yet critical to ensuring the network remained within observation. In the quiet corridors behind government buildings, a final exchange took place. To the casual eye, it was nothing. A brief meeting, a nod, a folded piece of paper exchanged. But MI6 had anticipated it all. Microcameras, encrypted audio intercepts, and human observation had documented every nuance, every detail, every signal, creating a complete map of the target's network. The vanishing point was more than a location. It was the culmination of patient observation and invisible tracking. The target believed they were operating unseen, yet every step had been traced, every action anticipated, and every secret revealed without a single overt intervention. As the final signals were captured, analysts in the operations center confirmed the integrity of the intelligence. The network was mapped, critical nodes identified, and vulnerabilities exposed. Field operatives began their slow withdrawal, retracing steps with the same discretion that had allowed them to infiltrate invisible corridors, ensuring that no trace of the operation remained in the physical or digital landscape. The ghost listener himself disappeared into the early morning mist, unseen, leaving behind a meticulously gathered intelligence network that would inform MI6 operations for months to come. The city, oblivious to the elaborate surveillance, continued its rhythm. Streetlights flickered off, trams clattered along tracks, and Londoners emerged into the day unaware that a web of observation had silently moved among them, mapping invisible connections, intercepting signals, and exposing secrets that had been hidden in the shadows. Operation Ghost Listener had achieved the impossible, extracting intelligence with surgical precision, leaving no footprint and proving the unparalleled skill of MI6 operatives in the art of silent observation. Every whisper in the wires had been captured, every shadow observed, every secret traced without detection. The vanishing point marked both the conclusion of a meticulous mission and the enduring testament to MI6’s capability that in a world filled with hidden networks and invisible signals, the agency could operate without ever being seen, a true master of espionage in the shadows. The operation closed as it began in silence, invisibly, and flawlessly executed, leaving only the intelligence gained and the invisible presence that had orchestrated it all. A ghostly reminder that sometimes the most powerful actions are those that leave no trace.